All right, welcome. We're back here with part number 2 in this little 7-part mini series. I am in my meditation room, special room. Used to be my office, but now it's just our hangout room. It's pretty awesome. And I want to get straight to the point. Last video I did was really short. It was only 18 minutes long. And it was going through the 7 questions, the quality questions that I can guarantee you and promise with a high level of certainty, because I've done this in my life, is these quality questions, when asked on a regular, consistent basis, will completely change and transform your life. So this number 2 question, or the second question, is building off the first one. So the first one is, what is it that I would absolutely love to do in my life? Number 2 is, how do I get handsomely, beautifully, and incredibly paid in order to do it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you an example that if you're a personal trainer or any type of coach or therapist, you're going to love this, okay? Now, if you're not, you can extract the basic math out of this, but also the essence of what I'm sharing and apply it to your own life, to your own business, because this is something that you can do no matter where you are. You could make a full-time income in a short period of time, or you can just do your full-time gig and have a really great high-level like side hustle, so to speak. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use personal training as an example because I happen to have a lot of experience in it. So if you are a personal trainer or a coach or a therapist, this is going to be perfect. And I'm going to share with you this basic math, how you can actually earn $69,120 in a year working 6 hours a week. Does that sound pretty cool? I'm going to say that again. In 6 hours a week, you can make $69,120 in an entire year. And the way you do that is by running small group training sessions. So first of all, I want to go back and say, what is it that I would absolutely love to do in my life? Well, I love training and coaching. I'm going to stay humble and grounded, but also say that I can toot my horn a little bit in the sense that I have some experience and I love coaching. So when I looked at my life and thought about, okay, do I want to do Young Living full-time? Do I want to just do my marketing full-time? Do I want to do training full-time? Neither one of those 3 in my example, if you remember from my last video, none of them were really inspiring. I didn't feel like, oh, I just want to do that. I couldn't see that. And it took me a while to kind of see the balance of how I could fit these all in my life. And now I have a perfect balance, at least based on my own values in my life. So the way that this works is that I do small group training. And I thought, okay, well, if I can do my marketing full-time, share the oils with people part-time so that I can still share that with people, then that's awesome. Then I thought, well, if I could earn a great income on the side by serving people in personal training, then it's going to be awesome. And I thought if I can I was looking at like overall my schedule with having 4 kids, running 2 businesses, and also making sure that I take care of myself and make time for my wife and just family life and keeping things balanced, right? So I thought, you know what, 6 hours I can do. 10 hours felt like it was going to be a little too much. 2 or 3 didn't feel like it was enough. So then I thought, well, before I used to charge $83, and then I think my highest hourly rate was $95 an hour for one-on-one personal training. And I charged that and it worked very well. And I had clients that would pay me maybe for 1 session a week, sometimes 2 or 3 sessions a week. And now I have clients who can train with me for 3 times a week for the same price that I used to charge for one-on-one training. So this little model of the 6 hours a week, how it breaks down in simple math, get your pen and paper out here or notepad, whatever, and write this down. If you do semi-private training, so what that is you do 4 people in a 30-minute session. And if you do 4 people in 30 minutes, and then another 4 people, that's an hour. That's 1 hour. You charge $30 per person in this case. So I'm working through the whole math. I thought, well, if I could make $70,000 part-time training, that'd be pretty cool. I don't have to pay rent and payroll and heat and hydro and all the stuff that we had to pay at the gym, but I can still just do what I love and love what I do, which is coaching people, coach, and then go and do my marketing work. So I have 4 people in the first session, another 4 people, that's 8 people in an hour. If I do 6 hours like that, that's 48 people, right? 4 people and 4 people is 8. 8 times 6 hours is 48, right? It doesn't have to be 48 separate people. It could be 12 people training 4 times a week or 24 people training twice a week. And my semi-private rate that I charge, which is very actually on the low end, is $30, which means that those 4 clients pay $30 per session. They come in, I write the program, I train them, and they have 30 minutes. So they come, they get warmed up. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, so maybe it's a little bit over the 30-minute mark. But if you take the calculator and you take $30 times 4, that's 120. 120 times 2, because in the full hour, that's 240. 240 times 6 is $1,440. 1440 times 4 in a month, I think, is 5,600 and something. So the entire year is $69,120. Now you might say, Barney, what does all this mean and why are you sharing this with me? I'm sharing this with you because when you look at that, it's actually fairly simple and straightforward. The act of getting maybe clients, and I'm using an example for personal training, coaching, or any type of therapist, or maybe an online coach, that this can work really well. Because the actual work time is 6 hours, so maybe you have administration or other things you need to do that needs to be done in order to run that little business. So maybe 10 hours, but 10 hours a week to make close to $70,000 a year, I think it's pretty good. So I looked at that and I thought, it's not just about the money for me, it's about me getting paid for the fulfillment and the satisfaction of doing whatever it is I was going to be doing. And I knew that in my Young Living business, I was gonna feel like a bit of a void of not using the skill set that I developed in the last 20 years in coaching and running my marketing business. I wouldn't be able to, but I was in the context of me only doing my Young Living or marketing business, then I was going to I felt like I was going to lose out the ability to share the oils that I love so much and are a big part of our lives still. And then if I just did training, then I wasn't going to be able to express my passion and interest in those other areas, right? So this comes back to these questions, and again, coming back, if you're watching this video for the first time, or if you're just coming to video number 2, go back and watch video number 1. Is I asked the question to just encourage you to ask those questions. So number 1 is, what is it that I would absolutely love to do in my life? How do I get handsomely, beautifully, and incredibly paid in order to do it? And I'm just sharing with you a way that I came to a conclusion where I can actually earn multiple 6 figures in a year without killing myself on working an excessive amount, but being able to really do what I love and love what I do. Because I've met people who are making $500,000 or $1 million a year, and they feel this like void that they're not contributing, or they just don't feel that sense of fulfillment and satisfaction and being in what I call being in the in honoring the universal principle of fair exchange. So this is just for me. This is for myself. And I want to share with you how I came to these conclusions as I'm walking you through my logic and thought process and how you can apply this to your own life. So just write that down and say, what is it that I absolutely love to do in my life, and how can I get beautifully, handsomely, and credibly paid? So if you're not in the service-based business or personal training, coaching, therapy, or whatnot, there could be other things that you could do. So maybe it's running Young Living classes and you're doing educational workshops and seminars, but you're going to charge for these sessions, and you could have 50 people come out on a weekly basis and charge $30 a person. That's $1,500 a month or $1,500 a week. Is that possible? I don't know. It's possible. Is it probable? Maybe not. To do it consistently every week. Personal training lends itself to that because the consistency builds up on just training, because you get the best results when you're consistent, right? So this is just as I'm finishing off here, because I'm feeling like I'm running out of steam. I was going to do this a little earlier today, but then I just didn't, and I went out for dinner with my family, and then out with a good friend of mine, Conrad, who I helped share some of my humble 2 cents of words of wisdom on a couple things that he's working on right now in business. And I think that when you take a step back for a second and just kind of take a minute to take some of this in, maybe go back and watch through the video and write these questions down. I put them all in the first video. I think what I could do actually is put these down in the comments or in the description, because this video is going to be on my Instagram TV or IGTV. It's also going to be on YouTube and on my Facebook page. But that my encouragement to give you as my words of wisdom for today, sometimes it's my daily walk and talk. Today it's just the daily stand and talk, is these questions that I'm going to go through them. It might sound cool and cute, like all these 7 different questions, but then the next thing is actually putting your some pen to paper. And it's better to have a short pencil than a long memory. And so the more detail you can put on paper, even if you're not exactly clear on how it's all going to piece together or what's the probability of all this stuff happening, but the more that you write out, the more you get clarity, the more you go back through it again, you're going to be able to see how you can change the way you ask questions. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that, or how am I going to get paid, or are the people going to come, or are they going to actually pay me for what I feel like I'm worth, or will they pay the $30 a session or the $50 a session? It's really not a good idea, in my opinion, to come from that standpoint and say, how can I do what I love and love what I do and get handsomely paid in order to do it? Because when you change the way, I've said this many times, I love this saying, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that is just a phenomenal, I think, a universal truth, and it can be applied to many different levels and facets of life. So that's my words of wisdom for you today. And as if you're just coming in now from the video, I just basically shared how in 6 hours a week you can make an extra $69,120. Now, maybe that's not motivation or inspiring for you at all. Maybe you're completely financially independent and wealthy and you never really are in a position to need to work another day in your life, and you have more money coming in, you know what to do with, and you're looking for that personal sense of satisfaction. Well, getting paid doesn't always have to be financially, because if you already have your financial house in order, I'm speaking in financial terms because it's a value to me, but also I'm presuming the majority of you watching this are in the pursuit of working towards financial independence and or just being, comfortable, whatever that means financially. But you could just get paid in the reward and the satisfaction and the fulfillment of seeing other people's lives change as a result of your contribution to them in their life, which could be in service to, okay, money's taken care of here, I invested some money, I have some passive, semi-passive, or residual income that's coming in from X, Y, and Z business, or money that I was given to me and it was properly invested, so I don't really need to work, I don't have to work, but I want to do something to contribute. And I think that if you're getting paid in that fulfillment and satisfaction, very cool. I also think that if you can financially get paid and then also get that personal satisfaction and fulfillment, you have a higher chance, in my opinion and my experience, of really being successful or just feeling fulfilled, right? So there's my words of wisdom for you today, guys. Let me know what you think on that. And if you would like me to run through the math again, I will, because I love running the math and running numbers. And I just think it's really cool that you can earn a full-time income in 5 to 10 hours a week when you're very clear on the specific details and how that would look in your life. And tomorrow, we're going to go through the next question, which my notes just turned off on my computer, so pardon me. I'd like to say that I remember them off the top of my head. But the next one is, what are the 7 highest priority action steps that I can take today in order to make this happen? So tomorrow we're going to talk about that, or the next video, and I'm going to walk you through, like, I'm going to get the whiteboard out and step this out, how I would do it, and because this is how I've been doing it. I'm like, I need equipment. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. And again, keeping in mind that this might not directly, my example that I'm using for this little series here, may not directly apply to your situation, but I think it's worth repeating again. I said this a couple times, I think, in the video, that you can extract the essence of what I'm sharing from these this little mini part, or this video series. It's time for Barney to go to bed. But then you can extract that and say, okay, how can I take these questions, take what Barney's sharing, and how can I apply it in my own life? Because your life can look completely different, and you can really grow your sphere of impact and awareness by simply asking these questions on a regular basis. And I will admit that when I first heard it, this is just being 100% honest, I was kind of like, really? It kind of sounds like bullshit. Really? Like, you ask these questions and things are just going to kind of magically change. Well, it's not that, but it actually changes the way your brain works and how you're looking at things, and starts to program your consciousness to look for certain things in your life. And then when you're clear on that, you get the details, you're looking for this and how can I do that? And you're not directly attached to how the mechanism as to how it needs to happen, then things will happen. And I'll leave you with this. 2 things, I said this probably 3 times, I probably always do, welcome to Barney's videos, is that when the intention is clear, the mechanism will appear. Okay, so I'll say that again, Conrad Blackwell. When the intention is clear, the mechanism will appear. A couple years ago, 1 to 2 years ago, I was kind of all over the place. As my good friend Jeremy Tracy would say, who he will also appreciate that statement if he watches this video, I was like a fart in a mitten. I was everywhere and nowhere at once, all over the friggin' place. I was doing, because I got out of the gym, I was like linear focus on the gym, balls to the wall, building the gym. And then I was building Young Living. I was doing some marketing, running the summits. I was going to the market and doing the oils, and I was going to sell some high-end roofing. I was going to do this and going to do that. And now that the intention is clear, the mechanisms are appearing, and some of the work that I'm doing on my marketing and what's happening in about 2 months is what my earnings were before in 12 months. And I don't share this to impress anybody, but to impress upon you, by me going through this, as I said, it was going to give you a guarantee with a high level of certainty by having gone through this. These questions are absolutely positively going to change your life, in my opinion, for the better. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is stay blessed, stay grateful, stay humble, stay hungry, and we'll see you on the next video. Barney Kunze out. I'm going to bed. Bye-bye.